You good, bro? You ready for this? All right, man. Let's get to it. Yo. Welcome back to Legit Life Talk. I'm here again, sitting down with Mo. You know what I'm saying? Continue off on this story. Last time we ended off, he just received his sentence, and we're gonna get to talk about that. Mo.
What's going on, man? Go ahead and finish up this story. Let y'all finish hearing about what happened after I took my plea deal. I basically ended up doing 8 months off that year's sentence. So I had to, buckle up. They gave me 1 more day out with my family, 2 more days out with my family. After I got sentenced, I went home, hugged my mom, spent the night. Got a good couple meals in, seen to everybody, and pretty much had to, turn myself in.
What was everybody saying as far as, like, words of encouragement?
I mean, they just basically let me know they're going to be there for me, write me, you know what I'm saying, come visit me.
Did you get that whole, hey, if you need someone, just hit us up?
I mean, yeah. Definitely everybody wanted to support and just make sure I was cool. I never been to jail before. And I was just in a predicament I never been in, and going to sit behind some bars without nobody and it's just something I never experienced. So it basically brought me to a realization that it's really happened, you know what I'm saying? Even though it could have been a lot worse, you know what I'm saying? It boiled down to just chalking it up, manning up, and make this 8 months the most,
Exactly. So So, how did you feel when it came time for you to go, or after the sentencing, and you knew you were going to have felonies over your head? How do you feel then?
Well, man, I was I was 18, so I was grown, but at the same time, I was still kind of, in my head, it didn't really sink in, you know what I'm saying, as far as, like, the real life, you know what I'm saying? So, I had never really had a real job except for, like, I did Steve's Warehouse, as we were teenagers.
Yep.
We did that, bagging groceries, but it wasn't more like, I don't even think they were asking us do we have felonies then because we were teenagers, you know what I'm saying? So I never experienced working as a grown man, you know what I'm saying? So pretty much I didn't really think about that until like towards the mid of my sentence or whatever, because basically I just wanted to focus on getting my GED. The judge told me he wanted me to complete my diploma, so I did get work release. But then I ended up messing up my work release because situations at school. Basically, they sent me back over north. Once I got sentenced, like they wouldn't send me to no Southside school. So while I'm doing my time, I'm getting out every day to go to school, but I got to go all the way over north. Like I get dropped off downtown, off the workhouse bus, and then I'll basically make my way to school over north Minneapolis.
Was it alternative school?
Yeah, alternative school, PYC right on Broadway.
And how was that setting there?
Man, it was different, It was a lot different than over south because I ain't know nobody, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, I'm in jail. Don't nobody know I'm in jail. So I'm going to school every day with a whole different demeanor. Like, I know I got to be downtown to catch this bus back to the workhouse. I got way more stuff on my mind, so I really couldn't really focus, you know what I'm saying? But I was happy to be out during the daytime, you know what I mean?
What kind of, like, other like students was there? Like, what were they doing? Were they focused on getting a high school diploma too, or was it like?
Nah, man, it was reckless. It was like it didn't seem like nobody in there cared. It was like literally, it was younger people there too. You know what I'm saying? It was 9th graders, 10th graders. I just happened to be a senior in my head and knowing that I need to knock out these credits to wrap it up to get my diploma.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it didn't last for me because it wasn't my scenery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm coming in there, I'm not talking to nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't saying nothing to nobody. Like, I'm not trying to look for no friends, none of that, because I already got, way too much going on in my head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to check back in to jail every night, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not no regular student.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and then I'm seeing a little tension from guys, you know what I'm saying? They're like Northside guys that don't know me, and then they know I'm not from around there and all that type of stuff. So it goes back to stuff like that, you know what I mean? You just get a weird feeling. I mean, the girls was cool. The girls liked me. That was That was the only thing, you know, like all the girls was liking me, but as far as the guys, it wasn't like I wasn't looking for no friends. I wasn't trying to meet nobody, you know what I mean? So I was being basically just keep it to myself, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know, that's going to bring problems when you ain't opening up, don't nobody know you. You ain't this over here, you ain't that over there.
And who are you?
Like, who are you, you know? And don't nobody know me.
So in a way, even though the judge was trying to help you out, it seemed like that way, you know, so that's how I would take it. But when he put you in that setting, because we all know how North Minneapolis is, when he put you in that setting, it kind of seems like he set you up to fail in a way.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. I couldn't say it's the judge's fault because he just gave me school release. Yeah. I just went to. That was the only school that would accept me. I had already went to WOC. We went to MTS for a day, got put out of MTS.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Southside schools wasn't really no option for me, especially being locked up. I could have gotten in trouble. So I wanted a different scenario. But not at the same time, I ain't expected to be like that. You know what I'm saying?
So basically all you had was the north side or the south side?
Yeah, and the south side wasn't no option. You know what I'm saying? Because we already went to WLC. We couldn't go back there.
So all you had was the north side?
Yeah, pretty much. I had to go to alternative school in north.
And for the people who don't know, tuning in, north side is probably the worst area in Minnesota. Well, back in that day. Predominantly black. Not saying anything bad about black people, but there's a lot of crime over there. And when you got somebody who's his age and they're placed in that area and they're expected to succeed, you're not giving much. So to me, that just registered in my head that was he set up for success? I mean, even though the judge didn't send him there, but he wasn't in a situation when he was set up for success. But then again, to go back to that whole survival thing, you know, and yeah, it's scary out there, man. It's scary. And when you're young, you know, he wasn't thinking about the felonies as he was going in. Would you say that?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't thinking nothing about it.
He was more happy about having less time.
Yeah.
And not caring about the probation either. He said, as long as I ain't got to do that much time.
Yeah.
And that's when they get a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? We commit these crimes, but it's held over our head. And as we all know, when you get out of prison, you don't get your rights back. You know what I'm saying? It makes it hard for you to, you know, get a job sometimes, you know. And it's just rough. Let's talk about why you were in towards the end. Like, you know, you about to get out. Like, what was your mindset then?
Man, like, I didn't get comfortable on the inside till at least like 45 days, 60 days in, about 2 months in. Then you kind of just know you stuck, you know what I'm saying? 30 days can go by fast, you know what I mean? So, first 30, I was kind of loosening up, you know what I mean? Out there, where I was locked up at, it was multiple people that I knew, you know what I'm saying? So, people from my neighborhood, people from other neighborhoods, old head dudes that I know from the streets, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a super revolving door as far as a lot of people that you're going to know if you've been in the streets your whole life, you know what I'm saying? So,
any problems?
I had like 2 encounters, two problems. Got in only one fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One was just a verbal one, and then one was a physical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And other than that, it was a lot of respect in there. You know what I mean? Like I say, I knew a lot of dudes, and I was already respected outside. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't no banging stuff in there. Really, it was hoods. You know, all the hoods were still in there, but it was still more in there. It was just all respect. If niggas know you, it ain't gonna be like, you know what I mean? It wasn't gonna really be no problems.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
People will probably just focus on getting home.
Yeah, because it was short time in there. It wasn't like the joint, you know what I'm saying? I was only in Plymouth Workhouse, you know what I mean? So, and this is back in the day when you only could do a year in a day. Year in a day used to be the max. So I was doing a max sentence in a place that I couldn't get no more time. I mean, I could have did a year if I lost my good time, which I did. I lost a little bit of good time, but I got it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just came from confrontation with the guards, not getting in your cell on time. If they closing the doors and you don't get in your cell in time, then they can, you know what I mean? That's, you ain't abandoning your laws in there, you know what I mean? Yeah. So if the deputy got to come and reopen your cell and do all that, then they going to be, you know, irritated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it happened to me a couple encounters. You're trying to rush back to your cell. I used to gamble a lot. Like I played a lot of spades, tunk. Those were my games in there. That's how I ate. You know what I mean? You play for commissary, but at the end of the time, that's commissary is as good as gold in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's all I did every day. Go get over my spade partner or play some tunk with some old heads, but we always gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So now it's time for you to finally leave the workhouse. Can you talk about your first day out, like T Grizzly? Was it anything like that?
Man, my first day out, man, it was actually, it was wonderful at first, just to know that I can move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really have none of the effects of, you know what I mean, dealing with the probation. Like, I knew I was gonna be on probation. I knew I had time on my head, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm not really finna do none of the stuff that got me locked up in the first place. You know what I'm saying? I had a different mind frame for sure.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I didn't know as far as what work I was going to be looking for. I knew I'd find it like a temp service and just try to get to working. You know what I mean? I knew I was a felon with 2 aggravated robberies on my record, so that ain't gonna look good to no job. So I knew I had to start a different route. You know what I mean? But I knew it was plenty of people that did have felonies that did get work if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's just about how much work you put in to get a job. You know what I mean? To stay focused.
That's real, man.
You know what I mean?
That you said that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, a lot of people, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people always said there's not enough jobs out here, or there's no jobs out here, we got a felon, you can't get a job. And that's not the case. You can't get the job that you might want, you know what I'm saying? But there's other ways, you know what I'm saying, you go about it. You can start your own business.
Yeah, there's programs, man. Like, I got my gig through the Mad Dads, South Minneapolis, which everybody knows.
Hey, shout them out, Mad Dads.
Man, Mad Dads, you know, much salute, much appreciation, man, for everything y'all do in the South community, North community, everything y'all do, man, because y'all real guys, real men, and y'all do make a big impact on a lot of people's lives. So
they do.
I salute y'all, man. And y'all, like I say, I went to the Mad Dads, and they got me my first job as a felon, you know, and I was making pretty decent money. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I wasn't even making minimum wage. I was making more than minimum wage, so that was a blessing. You know what I mean? I couldn't be greedy. You know what I mean? Like, in a situation like that, you're going to take what you can get. And if it's better than what you expected to get, then, you know, I ran with it. So, man, it's ways out there. But like I say, you got to stay focused. And most people get out, hit the ground running. Like, they missed out on everything, you know? And that's why most people get locked right back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You either going to mess up your probation, your first meeting with your probation officer, or, you know what I mean, if you stuck in a halfway house prediction, you might run as soon as you get some freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been gone so long, you feel like you're missing so much.
Exactly.
But my advice is definitely to just breathe, man, and just observe, you know. You got to watch everything for at least, you know what I mean, your first month out. You know what I mean? Before a couple weeks, a month, you shouldn't really be even thinking about going out, none of that, because it's still going to be there. You know what I mean? But you got to get your stuff prioritized.
Exactly.
But, man, I mean, like, I kind of got thrown off, like, right after I got out, because the first day I actually got out, I got shot at.
Wow.
Like, the first day, exact day. Like, I've been gone for 8 months, you know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling like everything's died down. I haven't did anything to nobody. You know, I'm already in a revolving door, so I'm seeing people come and go where I'm at. I'm not seeing no static. I didn't feel like I had no static. And like I said, again, I wasn't really hurting nobody. I was always just trying to get my paper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first day I come home, like, literally on my way home, the first day I got out, some guy shot at the car I was in. You know what I'm saying? Being in the wrong place. And maybe even mistaken identity, but that's just what happened to me the first day. So it's like, it throws your mind all the way back to everything that you thought positive, turns all the way back to, man, I'm not finna lose my life out here, so I'm gonna have to probably get back on defense mode.
Exactly.
Once again. You know, even though your mind can change and you feel like you're not on none that, you know, you might even been known for or stuff that you did, like, it's still always a past, man, you know what I'm saying? And there's always people out there, man, no matter what, you know what I mean? If you end up in these type of lifestyles, you always got to watch your back.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can change, like, even with this right here, it's kind of, it's like, I consider this like my saying a piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not because I know I've been inactive in the streets and I don't do much, like, and I never did nothing really. Like, I'm not a killer, not a murderer, you know what I'm saying? So I never done nothing to harm people, families like that. You know, I done typical things, you know what I mean, that happen when you're in the streets, fights and certain little things, man, but it wasn't like I never did nothing to the point where I knew I couldn't be forgiven. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you know what I mean, it's you gotta just really know what you want to do, or you can. There's always gonna be those type of temptations that make you do the wrong thing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So.
And here you are, fresh out the workhouse, fresh out of jail. You got your mindset of how you want to be, because your twins was born, right?
Yeah, well, they weren't born. I just I had them right when I got out.
So they was okay. So what year did you go out?
I got done with everything in 2007.
2007, and the kids, the twins came that summer 2007. You know what I'm saying? So, was your girl already pregnant, or they weren't even thought of yet?
I mean, she basically got pregnant like right when I came home. It could have been like a little bit before I came home.
Yeah.
You know, on a visit or something, but yeah, pretty much right after I got out, I had kids. Found out I was having twins. You know, so that also just made me like really try to focus. Like, I had a real special girl in my life.
Yeah.
Natasha Oker, mother of all my kids now. You know, and we were like, we knew we was in love, but at the same time, I was still, you know what I mean, undecided as how I'm finna be a man for a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, just a lot of stuff I was trying to soak in, and like I say, that temptation is always on your shoulder as far as getting back in the game, selling drugs again.
Yeah.
Getting back in, you know, don't mind if you beefing with guys or whatever, you know. That's always like the easiest lane to fall back into.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really got to buckle down, man. And I ain't gonna say I learned everything, because I did get in more trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It was like I had right intentions, but then again, I caught another case.
Now, before we get into the other case, if you want to talk about that, what was your support system like when you, like, your first 3 months out? Like, did you have anybody there telling you, hey, man, hey, besides Mad Dash, because you talked about that, did you have anybody there telling you, hey, let's take this route? You know what I'm saying?
Man, to be honest, man, like, I did, but it's not really nobody I can remember that was kind of like stressing it to me, you know, like everybody, like, people you see once you first come home, they're going to be like, man, yeah, stay out of trouble, man, you know, do the right thing. But at the end of the day, nobody really got a route for you.
That's
you know?
it.
And then I was always kind of like somewhat of the head honcho in my, you know, organizations or anything I was doing. Like I say, we never really followed nobody, you know what I mean? So in the day, people most likely looked up to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And looked up to me, so it's like, I supposed to come home and be telling them, you know what I mean? Like, what's the move? You know what I mean? Like,
and that's how you got approach?
I mean, yeah, like most of my guys, when I was going, they was just ready for me to come home so we can get back on the grind, figure out ways to make money. You know what I mean? Legal or illegal. You know, they didn't care if I stayed on the legal route. Like,
Yeah.
And they didn't know that's where my mind was at. You know what I mean? Because they just thinking like, dude's a hustler. You know what I'm saying? Like, and most people don't see it as really a problem. Like, you ready to get this money? You know, that's all they saying, and they meaning it in a good way.
Yep.
That's just the lifestyle that we was living. You know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, people was doing their thing. And, I mean, the only thing that was happening to me was people trying to give me drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, here you go, bro. You go home, you know? Here go, you know, a pee. You know, here go this, here go that. You know what I'm saying? Like, get on, you know? But that really wasn't the route. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, like you say, you still got to make money. You back out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a kid on the way. So now I'm back thinking, moving fast. Shit, you know? I got to get some money up.
Mm-hmm. I remember talking to you, well, I think it was like 2007, right before I went to the Marine Corps, and you had a house over there by Rainbow.
Yeah.
By Rainbow.
South Minneapolis.
And I remember you told me your place got hit up, and you told me the cops that told you some shit. You want to tell the story about that, or?
I mean, I could sum it up. You know, it's just always so much stuff that went on, and you kind of don't want to mention everything, you know, to show that you have any type of feelings towards anybody, because I don't have no type of feelings towards anybody, no regret, you know, no hate. You know what I mean? Anything that I did know or was capable of knowing back then is like, I chalked it all up. So at the end of the day, yeah, my house did get raided, you know what I mean? Gang task force and drug task force, you know what I'm saying? I had a pretty, you know what I mean? I was kind of back in the road that I shouldn't have been in, you know?
Okay.
but at the same time, shooting dice, doing stuff, having a house full of all type of, drinking and chilling.
Mm-hmm.
I got my kids there, my girl there. We all work, she's working, I'm working. But at the same time, we're still having people over and neighborhood people and dice games. And, stuff happens when you have all them type of events. And you get noticed. You know what I'm saying? So my situation was it was too many people from my neighborhood coming to my house. And they were hot.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they brought heat to me, heat to my family. And then when the police came, all they could say is, man, watch your homeboys. They said, all your homeboys are saying your name. And we came here to bust you today with something, I mean, like I say, it was the gun task force and the drug task force, South Minneapolis. I mean, and they apprehended me. My whole family was there. You know what I'm saying? My girl, she never experienced that. It was like the worst day of my life. You know what I'm saying? But my hands was clean. You know what I mean? They didn't find anything. But the humiliation and the embarrassment of, they really coming for you and trying to really slam you on account of people just saying things about you. That's supposed to be obviously your homies from your neighborhood. So that was like my ultimate fucking wake-up call. It was worse than jail, like I knew jail could come if I was doing bad shit. But I didn't think I can get snitched on from hanging with niggas. Well, hanging with guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that was even possible, you know what I mean? Because we always grew up in an era where you barely see snitches, you know what I'm saying? Like my day and age, the earlier,
Yeah.
which is totally different from now, like that's all that really get inbred in now is snitches. But back then it was like you'll come across them, but it wasn't like today, it was like 1 in 10. Now it's like 6 in 10, you know what I'm saying? So back then you really didn't get tolerated too much, you know what I'm saying, without something happening. But nowadays it's just like I say, so many people in the game now, and it's just no guidance, and people are just doing whatever they want, so it ain't no rules.
Exactly.
People don't obey by no rules, and even though it's a negative thing, you still got to follow certain rules.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like out the window. So that's what makes the game even scarier. So anybody out there that's still in the game or that still dibble and dabble with the game, you can really get up out of here real quick, because it's a lot of candidates out there that's willing to cooperate and give up your life instead of theirs, even if they're way bigger than you. You could be a small pea in a pod, but they add a lot of them up to make it up for them.
Exactly.
So it's not a safe game, man. It's the worst game. So I just tell people, man, and people that you think is really your friend, they can really be your friend, but when they get caught in situations, then you just never know if they're really your friend.
Speaking of friends, I think back in part 1, you talked about Rolanda's house. Rest in peace to Rolanda's house, bless his soul. How did his death affect you? How did you take it?
Man, it's still like a touchy subject for me, man. Rolanda's Divine House, yeah, he was my dog, man. He passed away 2014. Very, very, very early in his life. 2014, he lost his life. So that was a real big factor for me, man. He was like my closest friend that passed away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know anybody else that really died that was close to me, in my circle, besides Cedric Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? He was my first experience, and he was definitely somebody that was close to me, you know what I mean, in my heart. You know what I mean? We didn't talk every day on the phone or hang out back and forth after middle school, but when it happened, you know what I mean, that shit, it hit everybody, and it hit me too real hard, because we, like I say, we was in school together, but it was me, Rolandis, Cedric Ferguson, we was all in class together.
Yeah.
Every sport I played, we were all on the same team. So, like, these guys are really close, But like I say, I wasn't with Cedric Ferguson a lot, you know what I mean, but besides school. But with Rolanda's house, he stayed at my house all the time. I slept at his house, he slept at my house. He lived with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived together. He lived with me for 2 years,
I remember him, looking up to you, too, man. Like, that's one thing. So, I was off in the Marine Corps when I heard about the news. And the first person that popped in my head, it wasn't even his family, bro. It was like, because I didn't know his family. Like, man, I know Mo's taking this hard right now, And I was like, that'll hit you up, you know what I'm saying? I think I gave you a couple of days or whatnot, but I had to hit you up and whatnot. And, man, that was tough,
And it brought a lot out of me, man. It made more of a man out of me, but it showed me that I really do have, feelings too. Like most men don't ever show their feelings and hold everything in. But man, I cried like a baby. I cried for days, like days. And then like his mom, like she knew like I was his main man, best friend, like his number one man. Mm-hmm. So his mom, I knew his mom my whole life too, so she instantly calls me.
Same birthday.
My birthday was October 12th. His birthday was October 12th. So it's like we always hung together on our birthdays. We celebrated them together every year. So I knew what we weren't celebrating this year, and it was like we were already we were kind of a little distance around that last little era around this time, but we still talked a lot. He'll come to the house and play games with my son, and I'll still be kind of ripping and running the streets or whatever, but he always made time for, like, I only had my 2 kids at the time, so they loved him. They called him Uncle Nasty, But they loved him. He played the games. I don't play no games, so he took the role of a father, because he didn't have a son.
Yeah.
So they'd kick it, I even kind of got jealous sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas in there playing the game for hours, We're like, I still doing other stuff, and yeah, man, when it happened, man, it's still a touchy subject, man, but we all make mistakes, and sometimes, like I say, sometimes you can't make up for the mistakes, man, and that was the situation with this. But I did the best I can as far as helping out with, funeral arrangements for his mother, The thing that hit me the hardest was I had to identify his body. They shipped his body up here. It was from he was in, a different city over. I don't want to just throw everything out there, you know what I'm saying? But he was in a different city over where he died at. So they had to ship his body to Minneapolis. And his mom was so hurt that she couldn't go make sure it was him. She didn't believe it. So she called me to go do that for her. So I had to go to the church, which was over North Minneapolis, and identify my best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that, once I seen him just laying there, froze, like, it just changed my whole life, I broke down in there. Like, I didn't break down inside the church when I was right there. But when I walked outside, it's like I just lost all my feeling. You know what I'm saying? I just sat on the curb in front of the church and just was crying. You know what I'm saying? I just sat out there for like an hour. You know what I'm saying? People just riding past looking at me and shit. And this is just right after I identified my best friend's body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you blame yourself for his death?
I mean, in some type of aspect I did, because he looked up to me a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of situations you feel like you could have told people different things to be doing, but at the end of the day, I had to realize that we're all still growing. Mm-hmm. And we don't really know all the mistakes we're making until sometime it's too late. You know what I'm saying? So I try not to go as hard on myself, man, but I did have a blackout period for, about 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 months I was not myself. You know what I'm saying?
So a lot of old behavior came up.
Yeah, man, it was like I didn't care about living. I had family, kids, and everything at the time, but it was like this was too close. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'll probably be next, so I'm gonna do some stuff that's gonna make, you know what I mean, like just make me feel like I need to go too. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't deserve to go, like, and just be like you feel like you did things that maybe you could have went for, or you just never know. But just the guilt game ain't the game to play, man. When you lose somebody, it's just try to keep your composure. And like I say, I had to be the man in this situation too, so I couldn't break for his mom. I had to be there. I still talk to his mom almost, at least check in, as much as I can nowadays, but I still go through the house, birthdays, everything we celebrate. Like, I'm still major in contact with his mother, you know what I'm saying? Trying to keep her uplifted. He's been gone this 5 years now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she tells me, she cries to me a lot still, like, that was her only son, so she'll never get over it. So she still cries to me at times, you know what I mean? But I still tell her about the good times we had and just stuff she still don't know about him. Like, I throw her a little sneak story that we did,
Yeah.
Like, stuff she don't know about, like, y'all was doing that, and all that. Then she'll just start smiling,
Yeah.
And she'll be like, that boy was a fool, stuff like that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, man, she's still super heartbroken, man. Like, she'll never get over it, her only son. But I still go check in on her. I go over there, see her, you know what I mean? Let her know. Mother's Day, I always bring her a card, flowers. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that my boy would have did.
Yeah.
I just try to, be there.
A lot of people don't do that, man.
She salutes me a lot, because she like everybody in his life, and even like a lot of stuff that's going on in contact group support and all that type of stuff. She's like, everybody just vanished, you know. Like they help for a month or two and try to be there, but then after that it's over, you know.
Just leave.
Nobody feels your pain no more, you know. Like it's next subject.
They think that they figure that she gonna get over it one day, you know what I'm saying. But you know that it takes time, you know. It takes time for you to be over. To still grieve. She's still probably grieving to this day.
Yeah, she is. She still grieves real hard, you know, some days. She has her good days, you know. She's strong for the most part, but like I say, her only son. She'll never get over it, bro, to be honest. She'll never get over it, you know what I mean? Because it's always going to hit her at some point. Yeah. And then you got to, deal with it and try to stay strong.
I think the only violent death that I experienced outside the Marine Corps was my cousin Darius when he died and whatnot, man. And how old was I? It's our senior year. It's like the October 2005, I think, maybe before. No, October 2005. No, it's 2004. When he died. I think he died in August, September. And I was like, I took the whole different approach. I was like, I gotta be fucking strong. So I tried to act like it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Which came off as me. I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the case at all because I was hurt. So I looked up to Darius. I want to be just like Darius. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying?
He
Darius was that man.
That dude.
You know
yeah,
Darius was that dude.
He was that dude, man.
Darius Dixon. If you guys don't know, rest in peace to my cousin, man. But
rest in peace, man.
Rest in peace to him, man. Like that was like.
We looked up to him like we go hoop. We'd be happy as heck he go hoop with us.
Exactly.
You know?
You gonna hoop with us today?
Yeah.
Talking mad shit. And this dude used to give me his shoes, bro. Like, man. Or if I had some fresh shoes on, hey, where'd you get them from, Daryl? You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, he was a stylist, like, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I looked up, so I know how somebody close to you, how it makes you feel. You know what I'm saying? But I was at a younger age, so I dealt with that different. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even think about his mom. You know, the whole time I was just thinking about my damn self. For you to go out there and do that selfless act, you know what I'm saying? Still check on his mom. That speaks high words of you, man. That's pretty dope. That's really dope, man. I know Devon probably is smiling right now, that big ass cheesy smile that he had, you know what I'm saying? What do you call him, fat back?
Yeah, big nasty.
Big nasty.
Yeah,
man, people missed him. People missed him, people loved him, man.
Yeah, he was a Roosevelt Teddy, man. Played football every year, man. Loved football. He dropped some nice rhymes too, man. I wasn't ever able to come across all his last mixtapes, man, but that boy had a flow, man.
Yeah.
Boy had a flow. He was doing shows, man, and he used to be in certain areas, and he'll call me like, Mo, you can't come to this one. You know what I'm saying? Because it'd be maybe in the wrong neighborhood, wrong type of crowd, but he'd be like, man, I need you rooting for me, you know? Yeah. He'll drop the bars on me like, man, he perfected his craft. And he was going somewhere with that music, man.
Yeah.
He was going somewhere, man. Like, I'll tell a person if they whack, bro. I ain't gonna even lie. Like, if that shit garbage, I'm gonna let you know, like, man, yeah, you got to work on that shit.
Most definitely.
But my boy had it. Hot
I don't want to throw nobody's name out there, but I mean, you tell me a story recently about somebody being whack.
Man.
But, yeah.
Yeah, man, it ain't for everybody, I tell you that.
It ain't for everybody. Some people need to hang that shit up. I'm not going to hop on the mic. I know I can't rap nothing, bro.
I mean, you catch me maybe a little tipsy or just like in the mode and everybody else getting off, I might could throw a couple bars, but don't expect it to be consistent.
My black guy gonna try to spit fast. Give it the fofo. No, I suck though. But man, like, I think that's what a lot of people get away from, man. When they get older, they start having these kids. They forget they forget what they loved when they was a kid, bro. They forget about all that stuff, bro. They forget that what they love doing when they was a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, they stop playing basketball. They stop, I don't know, playing football. You know, they give all that stuff up. Even if you go the bad route or the good route, they just give that up and they start losing themselves, man. What was the changing point for you as far as like, you know what, this is not working no more. I need to change my life. I can't continue doing what I was doing or whatnot. Like, what was that changing point?
Man, like I say, I learned my lesson, I thought, but then, like I say, I still caught another case. So, okay. I mean, it took me a couple years after I came home, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I say, I had good intentions, but I caught another case 3 weeks after getting out. Came home thinking I was as strong as ever, but like I say, the wrong crowd, the wrong people, and just knowing you got to really focus on what you got to focus before you go out. That's why I always encourage people, don't go out right when you get out, because you're going to see too many people. You're going to have too many, you know what I mean, mixed feelings. You're going to want to turn up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's going to be mandatory, and then you know you've been gone, so you're going to get a little overexcited, and you might not do the things you was expecting to do.
Because you didn't go to a halfway house, did you?
No, I didn't have to do none of that.
You just went straight out there.
I went straight out, just probation, checked in with my PO. I had a great PO when I first came home, a black woman. I ain't going to really mention her name because she's not in probation anymore, but she kept in contact with me through all my time with my kids and everything. Like a real successful black woman that was trying to help, you know, the African-American culture coming out of the system. You know what I mean? And this is rare you're going to find those. Yeah. So I got lucky with that one. Because, like I say, I caught another case. And she was my probation officer, so she could have easily just revoked any time over my head and all that and just said I'm not fit for this. But she gave me a chance. And basically, I got a chance because the way the case played out. You know what I'm saying? I caught a third-degree assault.
That was that Navy dude?
Yeah.
Or some military dude?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was like, it all happened from basically going out and being around people, you know?
Yeah.
I was with, you know, some friends' birthday, and I'm just going out because I ain't been out. Yeah. It's 3 weeks I've been sitting at home, so now I'm getting, you know, thirsty and antsy to go see people, and this was a well-known person's birthday, you know, and they got a big limo or party bus or whatever, and I'm just riding along. Remind you, I'm not really drinking or smoking because I'm on probation, so I really couldn't do none of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm just out there in that vibe. But when you're in that vibe, you can still get in trouble because now you damn near security because you got to watch people back. Exactly. Because you're not drunk. You're not, you know what I mean? You're on point and you're seeing things that's happening. So my situation, I end up knocking somebody out. And pretty much back to the slammers. Now I'm sitting in the county. Yeah, he told him, he seen me, you know, it was to the point where, you know what I mean? It was witnesses, so I had no choice. You know what I mean? I had to go sit down and hope for the best. Yep. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was a fight. You know what I mean? So I did have a defense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't all my fault. But I was the one who swung, you know? Yeah. So the case went on. You know, I went to trial with that case because it was a fight, like I said. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the outcome ended up being that I didn't have to get violated for none of the time. And at the last minute, you know, before I did go all the way through with the trial, they offered me to basically take another felony, but I don't have to do no time.
And you took that felony?
And I took it, you know what I mean? Because I knew, for the most part, I couldn't afford no more of my freedom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they came with another deal, and that's why most black people get tripped up. But at the same time, it's not really tripped up if you know you're guilty. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you know you were active in it, you know what I mean? It could have not been your fault, but if you know you still participated, you got to chalk it up in some type of way. You know what I mean?
That's real.
So I encourage anybody who's going to trial for stuff that they know they did, just know you can live with the fact that if you do lose, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's only up to you to make the right choice. People say you got a sucker deal, you got this deal, but any deal is a good deal if you know you're guilty.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's less than what that sentence hold. Mm-hmm. So be smart about it, man, because I've seen plenty of brothers going to trial just thinking there's not enough evidence. It's not about the evidence. It's about you being real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You make a mistake, and if you feel like you got to own up to it, you know what I'm saying? Unless it was like, I'm not saying always just telling yourself, but, man, sometimes you do have to chalk it up. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that could save you from doing 1 year to doing 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be too tough and thinking you know the system, and then that whole plea deal for that year and a half turned into a mandatory 5 because you thought you were smarter than the situation or they didn't have enough on you. It's not about that. It's about what you know. What do you know? What did you do? If you feel like you're entitled to what happened, man, I ain't going to say take the first deal, but I'm going to say if it's a deal in your eyes, take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they come with the max, damn near the max out the beginning, don't take it, but you know what I mean? Work with them. You know what I mean? Not necessarily work with them, but if they come in, like, if they start off with 3 years offering you, and then they come with a year and a half, you know what I'm saying? And you think that was, you know, something you could live with, run with that. Don't turn down that last plea and then go to trial, and then turn around and get 4 when you could have took 3 or 1.5. Because I know 80% of people who do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about you being honest with yourself, man. The system can't trick you into nothing.
Exactly.
It's about what you know. If you did it, then figure out the best route for you.
You got any advice for people who just not coming out of jail now, like that's around our age or younger, or that 25 plus, or say 21 plus? Like, any advice for them?
Man, the best advice, man, would be, for sure, you know, if you didn't complete your GED, man, sign up for a GED class, man. Find your GED program. And while you're doing your GED program, find your temp service, man. Temp service, there's plenty of temps that work with felons, man. It's all type of temps. That's all I still, the work that I've been getting still starts off through a temp. Just because of my record. Like, I don't directly apply at companies because I still feel some type of way about my record.
Yep.
So I'll go through a temp and get hired on through that. I mean, just let my work speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? Before you get judged right out the door for having a certain amount of felonies. So I would just say temp work, man. Look up some temp work and GED classes, man, and observe, man. Do a lot of observing, but don't do too much outside clubbing or areas where things are happening at. You know what I'm saying? Things that make the news, downtown, Minneapolis, St. Paul, wherever you at. Just sit tight, man. Sit tight and grow first. Watch. Do some observing for at least a month or two.
It's real.
Don't hit the ground running, man.
Is there any stories you want to talk about that you haven't talked about yet? Because I know next time we sit down and talk, I want to talk about the change part, the forgiveness part. Is there anything else you want to get into?
Man, I mean, just growing and still learning, man, and there's still always gonna be mistakes, man. But like I say, I caught another case right after I came home. 3 weeks later, I caught a third-degree assault. But the crazy thing is, that wasn't my last case. I caught one more, and that one came after my kids. You know, like I caught the assault before my kids was born. Then I caught a dope case. I went back to that. So I caught a 5th-degree possession.
Any time?
Which is a felony. I did 5 months on house arrest. Still had the same black PO that was working for me, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of just told her, you know what I'm saying? Like, my girl's pregnant. I just had 2 twins, you know? The temp wasn't giving me the money that I needed at the time. So I thought I can be smarter and go hustle on the side while I'm working. And that's not the route. You got to really wash your hands up, man.
Mm-hmm. I see it all the time, like watching First 48. You know what I'm saying? Like, people give like the lamest excuse to these fucking officers or whatnot, or these detectives. I'm like, dude, are you serious? Do you really believe that's going to work? You know what I'm saying? If you be real straight out with them, you know what I'm saying? They have a heart somewhere down there, you know what I'm saying? They have understanding, you know what I'm saying? You're going to do some time, but they want to see what you're willing to admit to, your mistakes. Right. If you say, oh, I'm innocent, take your innocent ass to jail then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, some people, man, before you throw out them dumb stories, you know, about a lie, you might as well just be quiet. Like, my advice to anybody is always just to be quiet until you evaluate the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take some days, you know. So maybe you gotta go sit in that, you know, the county while you're charged, but you still gotta know how you want to approach it. Even if you know you're guilty, I still encourage you not to talk until you got legal representation. You know what I'm saying? Because they can still trick you. Some of them got the right intentions, but at the same time, they are still trying to lock you up. So at the end of the day, just keep your mouth closed, sit down, and wait on the best resolution for you. If you know you're guilty. If you're not guilty and you feel like talking about everything, then that's what you do, you know. But my first advice is be quiet.
Yeah. Man, I think today's talk, man, was pretty dope. You got a lot of information out there, man. You talked about a lot of people, man. You talked about a lot of choices that you made, your time you spent in jail, and that's, people need to hear that, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's time to close this story, you know. Next time we talk, the next time we talk is going to be part 4, you know what I'm saying, the final one, you know what I'm saying? And let's talk about the change, like what led up to legit life, you know what I'm saying? What sparked your mind to change? What sparked your mind to start legit life? Any advice that you would give to people who's still trying to change? Also, like, forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? As far as people who get past, people that you got into it with before, people who might not understand you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, like in black community, like growing up, we're not taught forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Especially strangers, people not